So China is a lucrative market for brokers and fintech companies, but entering the Chinese market is a big challenge. Regulations are vague, the local market is very diverse and complex, and that's even before we touch upon the cultural differences. So our next speaker is Baidu International's general manager. He will elaborate on the best practices of marketing to the Chinese public and how to tap into one of the world's biggest economies. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Frankie Ho.
So good afternoon. I'm glad to be here, and thanks, Michael, for the invitation. So before I start, why not I just introduce myself first? So I'm Frankie. I'm regarded one of the, I think, oldest internet guys in Greater China. I've been in e-commerce and e-commerce for more than 20 years. Before taking the role at Baidu International Advertising Unit, I was actually the head of sales of Yahoo Search Marketing in Greater China. I'm also the one who set up the first search engine in Hong Kong, China, for Overture, I think maybe like 15 years ago. So hopefully today I can share some of the marketing insight for you when you try to enter into the China market, which is regarded as the biggest global market in the world. So before we start, why not I ask a simple questions to let us know how you were in the China market. So anyone knows about BAT in China? Okay, so sounds like everyone knows about that. So what's the reason for coming here, right? So I think everyone knows about this. They also break the record in this year's Singles Day. Okay, T. So anyway, oh, I see you guys. So you didn't know about T? Oh, cool. So you guys know the answer. So quite good. So let me go through about some basic stuff in China. So I think you guys are pretty good and familiar with the European market. So I think, internet is even going faster in China. For example, when you go out in China, you never need to bring along your wallet. What you need is a digital phone. So with the QR code, you can buy like a Coke at the convenience store, or you can call the taxi like the Uber here. We have Didi in China. So this is the major interest of the web server. They were in China. So instant messaging, we are talking about WeChat, which is owned by the BAT, the Tencent. Whereas I represent the search guy, which is the market leader of Baidu. Whereas from social, we also go with Tencent. We have the QQ, WeChat. Of course, the Singles Day record is being broken by Alibaba, which have Tmall and also Taobao. So these are, I think, in terms of functions, I think it's similar of what we have here, except I would say you seldom here in the Chinese are using like Facebook or Twitter or something like Google, because somehow they were being blocked by the China government. So unless you use a VPN in China, you usually can't access this kind of app or even website. So I would say, it never be a good strategy. You just copy what you have done in Google into Baidu, because they are totally two different things. So instead of go through the figures, why not I make it like even move faster? Although search is something very basic, search at least is a medium that the audience is looking for you. So if they know about like FCM, they know about GKFX, that means they at least know about what is Forex. So good thing is people are looking for you, instead of you keep on doing like the generic advertising. So this is some interesting figures you may be interested in. Among the investment products, gold and precious metals are still the dominant one. Firstly, because of the Chinese culture, Chinese like storing or investing in gold. And also, Forex is a rather new investment tool, towards the Chinese. That's also, I'm not too surprised about these figures. But you have to understand, in terms of the search queries and also the device percentage. Most people go to internet through the mobile device in China. So if you told me your website or your tools or your customer interface are not mobile friendly, then you need to rethink about your strategy. I will show you more figures in the later slide. So these are the four major, I would say, investment products in the China market. This even, go one level deep. It's about the search index. We can see from Baidu. We found the search volume is rather high during the weekdays. So that means people are more tending to make investment decisions in weekdays rather than like on Sunday. Also, there are also some daily search volume. You can still see Forex is something have a rising trend. That people, more and more people are get know how to search for that. But I have to admit, even I've been speaking here, this is the 6th year, I come here to share some insight. This is still a new investment tool towards the mass of the Chinese market. This is what exactly I shared, just a minute ago. Mobile is very dominant. This also makes you to rethink of the way how you set like the demo account or how to launch your service in internet, because unlike desktop, it's a big interface or big screen. All the way you only count on a small screen. So I think the path may not be exactly the same between the PC and the mobile. And some of your competitors are actually doing like O2O. Instead of asking the potential registrants or potential clients to register step by step like the PC, they sometimes rely on the offline having sales to call upon their potential clients instead. So we need to be move smart. And then this slide, most of them are in Chinese. It's so about the relevancy of the keyword of the Forex. So what does it mean? So instead of just keen on buying one keyword, you also need to be aware there are some IBs looking for you, or there are so potential partner also wanted to work with you. Instead of the big five, I don't want to work for IG, I don't want to work for like Central Bank. Then what are the reasons they need to go with you? So that's why, we usually recommend, or, most of the suppliers, they actually use a large categories of keywords to draw the traffic. Instead of just count on, one or two keywords. Otherwise, your total acquisition cost or the CPA will be very high. And of course, we also have some insight, about the search pattern. So before they enter into the market, having enough information, they will rather use the generic keyword to search for something about Forex. It's a new concept in China. What does it mean? What can I do? How the easiest way or the most common keyword they use is how to make money in Chinese. But after they know more, you will find they know how to search MT5. So apart from MT5, what's that's meant for? And then they will search even more tail terms. So in our recommendations, you usually need to have both sets of keywords. Some for generic in the rather preliminary stage, where with some conversion-driven keyword, but not in mass volume. We call the tail keyword. So very similar to the games of Google. And also, we can have a look on the left-hand side. This shows, which are the biggest provinces in terms of search volume. The first one will be in Guangdong. And then second one will be the coastal area of like including Shanghai. So there's some insights, but be aware of that. this chart only shows the search volume. Doesn't mean you should be like others. You put your biggest bet into the highest profits. You know why? We are doing forwards. I don't care where are the customers coming from. All the way you need to have your portfolio of managing your P&L, right? Or how to optimize or maximize your gains. Some market, they are maybe a second-tier city. But the good thing is you may be able to manage a lower CPA due to less competition. So all the way, Google, we keep a close eye on the CPA. Baidu itself provides a Baidu Analytics. It's similar to Google Analytics. It's a freeware, so you can use it to understand your clients or the search patterns more often. But at least it tells you the biggest city doesn't mean having the biggest search volume. So it may also give you some insight for your future marketing strategy. And this is the audience profile. So who are the people who actively search for forwards? We have divided into different age groups. And then we find that the highest search volume will be like other investment products, with people between 20 to 29. Then be aware. That means compared to other countries, maybe it's rather young. Then you need to fine-tune a message, at least a more appealing message to those younger guys. And the right-hand side will be the male and versus the female pattern. So it means the audience age more than 30 are more interested in gold and precious metals. Maybe, as I mentioned, forex are rather new. Younger people are more accepted to new stuff. Whereas the old guys, they may, when I start investing, I start with gold and precious metals. They still, keen on that. So it talk about when Google is almost absent in China, then we find 90% Chinese citizens are covered on Baidu. Baidu, like Tencent, we are not just like having one search engine or one platform. Actually, BAT are the ecosystem. How ecosystem, as I mentioned, we talk about Messenger, WeChat is owned by Tencent. But at the same time, the China version of Uber, Didi are also owned by the BAT. Even when you say, after I hear what you said, I want to start up some new business in China. If you're having insufficient funds, go with BAT. They are having the financial license. They can lend you money as well. So even you go with the China version of Expedia called Ctrip, China, they have now become the biggest OTA. They are owned by Baidu as well. So that's why they are quite dominant. And every of them, they also got its own payment means and also its own product portfolio. So instead of saying that they are just one platform or one search engine, they are more like ecosystem. Even you listen to music, you watch the video, all the dominant platform actually owned by them directly or indirectly. So I think this is the market share. I don't want to talk too much because compared with others, Baidu is too dominant on there. But I think the interesting thing is when you see about this, the website. These are the most dominant sites in China, but most of them, again, are owned by BAT. Even the domain is like Baidu, Tencent, but they more or less owned by them. So you can't escape from BAT when you are living in China. I think forwards is still a new segment, but other dominant brands in Europe, they are already there. Because, very interesting phenomenon, even among Chinese. Chinese believe when I buy some like big brands like Cartier, like LV, when I buy here, I will feel more comfortable because not just about cheaper, about the lower price, about the lower taxation, but also they will find that more authentic, at least no fake stuff. So very interesting. So that's why, some brands, they are the local brands. They wanted to intend to make it more like a foreign type, to make their sales records even higher. So it's some interesting phenomenon that we observe in China. But of course, one common phenomenon is they are already all on Baidu. And I think, what I see the brands here, more than half are already with us. I think we get back to the forest challenges in China market. So I wanted to go through like a few tips for you, which is, I think, very important when you determine to enter into the market. The first thing is nothing about search engine, nothing about like internet. It's about advertising laws. For example, if I say, today I'm doing a promotion, $1 or £1 per beer. Once there is an internet audience, they go to the shop and can't buy it. They can complain towards Baidu or Tencent. And then Baidu and Tencent is legally liable. So that's why, unlike Google, every time, every advertiser, Baidu, Alibaba, Tencent need to go through the censorship process. Otherwise, they will be in trouble. And this process sometimes takes 3 to 6 weeks. This is totally unlike Google or Yahoo or Bing, all these platforms. Because whenever you pay me the money, I can ensure you get online in 24 hours. So that's something very unique in China. So any message that have potential to cause any legal dispute, you are not allowed to publicize it. So they need to verify this is the exact message you are deliver, and you can deliver as well. Okay, that's one thing very, I would say, very unique. And then another even more bigger challenge is not just forex, but also blockchain and like crypto. All this kind of concept trading are in the gray area. Somehow the government wanted to regulate it, but somehow it becomes irregulated because in internet there's no boundaries. So we need to be very smart. Just give you an example, if you just have a cyber forex license, you want to get online on Baidu, I'm sorry, the answer is no currently. Not until you try to modify the website or the content in a nice way to make it more informative, then we can pass through you. So we need to be also very smart in doing that. And then we also need to understand the local clues. Unlike what we hear, I think most of the Chinese, they can't speak or read English. So forget about no matter what, I don't care what you guys are, I just copy the Google keywords into China. It doesn't work because most of them, more than 99% people can't really speak or either read English. So be aware of that. So if this is not Chinese friendly, please really have to adjust the expectations. And also like the payment means. What we talk about is not just like Visa, Master, or Union Pay. So we are using in China, more dominant payment means will be the Alipay as well as the WeChat Pay. So I think this is also very important if you wanted to collect payment through the internet interface. Of course, I mentioned mobile dominance. I would say, as you see in the figures, maybe mobile is already got 70 to 80% dominance. So you need to ensure all the message will be mobile friendly enough to deliver. All this make you need to plan ahead your marketing campaign earlier. Otherwise, you can't get on time. But very interesting it would be, I say sounds like a bit challenging, but your competitors are very advanced. What does it mean? Like in China advertising, we also have like DSP or the most advanced technology. As long as you have the device ID of those mobile device potential clients, we can go through the system to grab this target audience for you. So very targeted, and also very immediate feedback you can find. And also the last thing is about branding. In the past, like what you do in SEM or SEO, all the way you only care about the ROI, the CPC. But in China, it's something like that. Maybe you know who is the biggest player in China, but if you are the first time here, you will find how come they're the number one in China, but they are not very big globally. Somehow, some people told me, and then I would say because they are the early one to do the branding campaign. When they do the branding campaign, the Chinese believe they're a pioneer. They believe this brand is the biggest in the world. So that's why, whenever we launch something, we need to consider about the branding effect. So that's why you are not surprising. Most of the premium jersey, their sponsor, they're in Chinese. Some of your competitors, they're still keen on that with the Chinese brand because they know branding is so important towards the Chinese market. So I think these are the key challenges. Of course, when you launch something in search engine, not just Baidu, you need to pay attention for the few stuff. Of course, PPC, apart from PPC, we usually use a native ad, which is a common practice. Of course, another thing you can think about or what you need is the brand song in Baidu. Instead of go through the product, I show you what is called by brand song. But you can see most of the competitors or the forest players, they were already here, even MT5. The keyword draw a lot of search queries. But one thing you need to pay attention, this is the brand song product. Brand song is something when you search for the brand, you actually have the advertisement, occupy the majority of the page. That's one thing Baidu, unlike Google. Google did care about user experience a lot. In Chinese, I would say we are more realistic. As long as you pay me money, I can try to make the result as you like. So quite dominant in terms of the advertising world. So that's why this, obviously, they pay us money, okay? So they really occupy most of the space of the first page. And they also have a lot of format. As long as you pay for the loading, you can make whatever you like, or even have a video over there. So that's a totally different from Google. So that's also explain how come most of the brands, they actually buy this brand song, no matter it's investment industry, in fashion, or in luxury industry. So I think today I have more or less go through some tips. Hopefully, I can give you some insight. But again, China is a quite unique market. If you are not yet there, feel free to talk to my team or me to see how can move faster. And we need to have I would say, plan ahead earlier because of the unique market characteristic of China. And then, last but not least, thanks everyone, the patience for coming here and listen to my sessions. So I'm glad we can offer like 5% free credits, not just Baidu, but also Google as well, if you're keen on that, to show a gesture to support the event. So every participant of this event, you can enjoy this. Just come to me and leave your card to me. And then finally, it's my contact. My contact here, no matter where I were, I was travel, you can reach me through WhatsApp and WeChat. So, so that's the end of my presentation. So thank you very much. I think we have time for the questions.
Yeah. Yeah.
How easy is to get payments for Forex?
Okay.
How easy is for Forex brokers get payments from China? Because as far as I understood, okay, accounts get blocked when it comes to Forex payments.
I'm not a payment specialist, but I observe most of the Forex players, they partner with some payment company. You can see they also did the exhibition. They usually once and for all. I found most of the payment solutions, they already have either Alipay or WeChat Pay. Maybe the easiest way is to go with these kind of partners. Of course, in long term, you need to control this cost because of the transaction amount and also the number of transactions. But that's the most common phenomenon we find it. But I tell you something is, if you wanted to use your own ways instead of go for this like, I would say a total solution, you can connect one by one. I have some good contacts for you, like for Alipay and WeChat Pay. So if you need it, just send me an email. I'll help you. Hopefully, I can bridge the gap for you. But I think for the early start, I would recommend you to go with the solution provider. Otherwise, you spend too much time. Yeah, it doesn't make sense, right? Yeah.
You give an example of a Cyprus firm, CFD firm, that couldn't advertise on Baidu unless they made their site more informative. Do you have more detail you can share on that? Is there guidance provided by Baidu?
Firstly, I would say there is some high-level guidance like crypto, blockchain, forex, because unlike precious metals, they did have rules in the local China economy. So everyone knows that how to fulfill the rules, I can get online. But forex, crypto, all these are the new concepts to Chinese. So instead, you just like what you are doing here, very straightforward. You just come here to open an account, or even to have a trial with the demo accounts, right? You can't do it. Otherwise, Baidu our censorship team will stop you. So the first step we usually is to recommend to make like a more informative site, just collect inquiry. Of course, using the keyword like forex of these kind of keywords. Draw more traffic and then learn more. And that's why now it becomes more and more common for some of the forex players. They not just use online. After they grab the information, they use their local sales team to follow through. But I can talk to you because we also have an expert here. So if you want to know more, we just exchange the name card and tell you what exactly you need to do. Hopefully it can help. So any other questions? Cool. So I make my job not too bad. Okay, thanks again for the time. Thank you.